Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, king and queens, a good morning to you. My name is Ann QT, and this is Daybreak. And you know, this is the show where we talk about social issues. We talk about the real issues that are taking place. And remember, June is Men's Mental Health Month, so we are still sorting out the boy child. I told you this month we are going to be talking about self-care, about the boy child, and everything that the men are going through. We are always forgetting the boy child as a society, but we've been here talking about it the whole of this month. But of course, I'm not alone. I'm with my beautiful, beautiful panel, lady and gentlemen. Karibuni sana.
Thank you.
Good to see you, Bobby.
You look like a flower today. So beautiful.
Thank
the
you,
yellow,
Bobby.
the makeup.
Asante, Bobby.
Unasikia
Thank you.
vizuri?
Nasikia poa.
I love it.
Thank you, Bobby. How are you?
Thank you. I'm amazing. Wacha tunisalimia wazazi wangu. Hi, mom and dad. Yeah, but I'm amazing. I feel good. I'm happy. Justice for Alberto Ojwang.
I love that. I just love how Bobby is always like, checking me, I'll just say what I need to say.
I have to.
I love that about Bobby.
Thank you.
Ken, good to see you, Ken. Ni kama panel yako ni
kama imetoka.
Imetoka panel yako.
Nakao. Ama they needed a serious person.
Walikuwa nataka serious person.
It's good to see you.
Good
morning.
You too.
Leo wacha tu niseme, give flowers when they are due. Last week I had an opportunity to sit down in a session facilitated by the sage himself.
Wow.
It was amazing. My people are really appreciative. He was training my team on corporate culture.
I love how we are using this network.
Yeah.
You know, we are using this network the way it's supposed to be used.
Yeah.
Sage.
I appreciate that a lot. You know, thank you so much, Ken, for introducing me to a whole new group. And he's got a great company.
Wow.
He does. They've got quite some good energy in the room. It's very difficult to tell, you know, who is who unless you are told.
Yeah.
So it's really a good place to be. And we had great time, though he abandoned me.
No. I needed him to be with the team so that they don't look at these two people know what they are saying on TV.
Right.
So they are here to tell us what they say on TV.
Yeah.
I had to give him the audience.
And this is the real definition of your network is your network.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. You should use the people that are around you, but in a good way, not in a bad way.
Yeah.
So big up Mr. Josh, as always. That's my dad, always tuned in on the show. And today we are talking about toxic women. Yeah, I know that's a very difficult topic to talk about because we know Bobby, and we know how Bobby is about, you know, she's so vocal about women, but we have to address the elephant in the room. Let's talk about the real issues, the toxic women, because we are always blaming the men. Oh, he left, you know, he's a deadbeat dad, he abandoned his family, he walked away, he just woke up one day and walked away. But are we really talking about the real issues? What really happens behind the scenes? What really happens behind the curtains? The elephant in the room. Let me start with Ken before I get to Bobby. Wacha nianze. Nikianza na Bobby.
Thank you.
Hapa kutakuwa kumoto sana. Lakini maybe Ken, you can just talk about what do men go through? Because sisi tuko hii side ingine, we are on this other side. But what is it that really that men go through and they don't talk about, they are not able to open up? Ni nini nafanyanga mtulie sana hivi, Ken?
Last Sunday was Father's Day.
Yes.
I have had the privilege of sitting in 3 different sittings between Saturday and Sunday talking to men about Father's Day. And it's only when you give a man audience to talk about what they go through that you really understand that people out here are suffering without telling anyone. Unfortunately, nobody gives a man the opportunity to speak. We are always ready to crucify men without giving them the chance to say the side of a story. Out here, people have perfected PDA, the public display of affection. And so many men are going through quite a lot, but they don't want to speak out because probably they married the trophy wife, or they are dating the best of the best in the village. But some men, I wouldn't say it's everybody, but some men are subjected to cruelty by the partners that they have in the name of a woman. And the society gives audience to a woman and takes the gospel truth from a woman without giving audience to the man. And so what the men have perfected to do, they have perfected to go elsewhere, seek audience, maybe in the wrong places because nobody is ready to give them the support. But when you open a Pandora's box and you allow them to speak, you would really understand that all is not rosy. Of course, I also blame the men because of not manning up and taking your position as a man and saying, this is my stand. Some have been unloved before, and so when they find somebody who is ready to love them, they are ready to go out of their way and overlove. And it is in the overloving that they end up being hurt, because now it becomes entitlement and expectation from the person that they are dating. But I would simply say as a start that some men are really in pain, and the pain is caused by their partners, but they also don't want to give up. They end up into depression. They end up into alcoholism. If you look at the rate of alcoholism, it has really gone high. The rehabs are full. I have the opportunity to speak once in a while with people who are seeking help. And every time I would call a rehab, I'm told, we are going to discharge somebody at the end of the month, so please wait. And majority are men. Reason being, men don't want to speak out. They just want to act out and hide. But that hiding is what is affecting them. And it's a high time we tell the boy child that it's okay to come out in the open, seek help rather than die into depression. Because many people will come and say, I only wish I was there. I keep telling men, I am ready to listen to your story from your side, but not to read it from your eulogy. Because the moment you allow us to attend your funeral, it simply means some things could have been avoided. So who is this giving the man the audience? We've said in this show that many men don't have even the opportunity to speak up. We've seen a rise in corporate leadership led by women, which is a very great thing, that women now are rising faster into the corporate ladders. But some rise high with the intention of diminishing the male child. They don't want to give even the man the opportunity to speak. So males have nowhere to speak. They can't speak in churches. They can't speak in schools, because even Parents' Day women speak more. I don't know why. They can't speak in their own houses. So where can they speak? They only speak in the wrong places. Go to bars today, and you'll be sad to say this, that we have men who have now become DDOs, daily drinking officers. It's day after day after day. They cannot do without alcohol. These coping mechanisms are not helping them. So it's the high time we the men, need to learn to speak up, speak to the right person, and talk about the challenges. Sometimes we may not have even the solution, we as counselors and psychologists and life coaches, but a problem once spoken about is half solved.
And let me come to CJ and ask you about what's the root cause of this? Because we've grown up, we've had different roles. I grew up as a girl and became a woman. I had my different roles. But the vibe that I always get on the ground is that the boy child, no one is teaching the boy child what to do. No one, you're always told to man up. That's the word that is always used. You're not supposed to cry, you're a man. Is that the root cause of this, or what takes us back to why men don't really open up?
I think we have so many factors around it, especially in our society, because we were very communal before, and the sense of community covered up individual weaknesses and failures. So some of the pressures we face now is because we're very individualistic. For example, in the past, if you were going to marry, a whole community would come around you, help you get the dowry, help you get a place, help you settle down. Right now, once you have gone to school, you have to do all of these things by yourself. And you probably are not built up for it, or you probably have not seen the template for that. So the men are also trying to define themselves, first of all, as modern men, yet against a background of being traditional men. There's already an identity issue in that particular place. And when this person who is trying to find themselves and go against the whole world that also has pressure on them and expectations that by this time you should now have a wife, you're getting to 30, you're getting too old, you need to have a wife. But nobody's building up your capacity, nobody's putting resource around you, so you have to find a job, use the same job and your own skills and your money to set up a home. With a girl who has now traveled like cutie, she's been exposed to a lot of things. Her expectations are absolutely outrageous. This boy's father married a lady who was just fine being home. Just taking care of her kids and raising them, and probably go to church on a Sunday or go to the market one of the days and hang out with women one of the days. But now she's getting a Bobby who says, I love flowers, I love cash, I love this. And then now he's trying to bring this person into his world. This is already a challenge to this particular person. So when they get into these relationships, for example, the measure that will be given to him is already a disadvantage. That he is not built up for the standard that will be expected from him. When somebody's in that place, you either empower them. That's why we were training Ken's people. You don't tell people you're not doing well, we're firing you. You first of all try to build them up, give the opportunity. So the question then comes in, who is helping this man into his roles? We no longer have mentorship from the older people and the fathers, because some of them also had to leave. And those were part of the problems of not being able to perform. So here you were trying to figure out life by yourself, and then you're being told you're not doing well. But the person telling you you're not doing well has no capacity to empower you in how you need to do well. And they're telling you figure it out. So you're trying to look around, and Ken is also trying to figure himself out, and the next person trying to figure themselves out. And one of the things that men don't like is failure. They actually can't handle failure, generally. All those things we get into, the drugs, the alcohol, the leaving, is because of the feeling of failure. So I will not tell Ken that I'm struggling, because he will perceive me to have failed. But he's doing the same thing. He's trying to hide something because he doesn't want me to perceive him as having failed. So that brings isolation. So isolation becomes the breeding ground for depression and for all these other emotions that come in. So when that begins to come as well, if you have a partner who requires a lot from you, and they are not patient, or they don't understand, or they don't know where to seek help, they will end up battering you either verbally or beginning to abuse you emotionally, like cut you off, shut you down, treat you in a certain way. And then the failures of this man get accentuated. And if he keeps on hearing every day that he's failing as a man, he's not doing well, he probably one day will walk, because he's dying on the inside. He's trying as hard as he can, but he keeps on hearing he's not good enough. And it is feeding on the fears that he already has. And he will generally just be dying on the inside. So that now gives an open door to every other thing that we will deal with as a vice. Yeah.
And you've brought a very important aspect, the partner. The partner plays a very important role in a man's life. And let's come now to you, Bobby. And this one, I'll ask you a direct question. What is the role that women play in a man's life? Do you believe that women are the problem, like they're the toxic people? We push these men, like we really push them to become what we come to blame them. Sisi ndo tunawa trigger, and then we come and blame them later and say, okay, he's a deadbeat dad. But are we really looking at the other side of the coin? Like, why is he a deadbeat dad? Why is he a bad person? Why is he a bad man? So what role are we playing as toxic women in this men's role? That's the point that I want you to come out clearly with.
Hey, nimesikia joto ikijaa kwa chest. Wacha nipumue kidogo.
Thank you, Bob.
Hey, I wish you guys knew how difficult it is.
Okay. I know it is.
So, I think narcissistic, abusive, horrible women do exist.
Yeah.
And they really do affect, anyone who's abusive and horrible like that, they do affect you. Iyo kushinda ukisikia all the negative things you're doing, how you're not showing up, and maybe you're doing your best or you're doing what you know how to do. And this is why I try to advocate even in all sorts of relationships, instead of focusing on the things that someone is unable to do or on their shortfalls and shortcomings, we try to build each other na kujengana na focus on people's strengths and the good things that they're able to do. So yes, I do believe there's women who are out there in the society who are actually breaking men down. And last week before we left tuligusia hii topic kidogo, and there's something CJ talked about, how within relationships men protect subconsciously. So that is why they won't even come out and speak out and say, unajua mi mama ananitwanganga kwa keja, akubali nione watoi, amenikataza nini nini nini. And you see, something that narcissistic and abusive people do really, really well is isolate you. And it doesn't, sometimes this abuse doesn't come out as violence, especially when it's coming from women. It can feel or look like protection, love. You know, she'll just start saying things like, Ken, unashindanga na maboys kila saa. Kwani lazima uende kila saa? So if you go this week, you will go, and then when you come back in the house, silent treatment. The whole week akuongeleshi anaanza tu hivyo. So now as a man, of course, you're starting to think, how can I, make this situation a bit favorable? So now you say, I don't want to piss off my wife, so I'll just stop hanging out with the boys. 1 month turns into 6 months, you're not going to see your friends. Anytime you want to take care of your family, your sister is asking for help, hey, Ken, nitumie kamia tano. Your wife has beef. We kila saa familia yako ndo lazima uwatumie pesa nini nini, hautumii familia yangu. Then now you start deciding to keep peace in the home, let me cut out family. It just starts like that. Isolation mdogo mdogo. How it looks like protection is hizo vitu ya you can't go, you can't do, you can't be seen here, you can't nini. By the time you're waking up, this person has turned you into what they want for themselves. They're not accepting you as you are. They're not loving you the way you are. They're not supporting your strengths. So in a way, they're putting down everything you believe in, everyone you're ever around. And the reason also you can't even speak out is who are you going to tell? How do you start saying, Ati, my wife doesn't want me to see my friends, or my wife doesn't want someone will ask you, si utoke tu kwa nyumba uende. But you know what you're trying to protect, and you know what you're trying to salvage in your relationship, and just to make things work. So this shows up a lot in a lot of relationships. And then even you see how I struggle to talk about, the ills of women. This is a real issue. I don't know where it comes from in my past, but I like to think it's because I've experienced amazing women. So it's very difficult for me to even imagine a woman would be doing that to someone, like they would be abusing someone. But just because I have that privilege doesn't mean I can't acknowledge that this is something that is happening and it's something we need to address. So yeah, I'd like for people to look out for such. It doesn't always look like violence. It doesn't look like a shouting woman. Sometimes it's the silent treatment that will drive you crazy. You're in the home, but you're walking on eggshells because you're very, very afraid. And it's very scary because easy, small, subtle abuses, they make you a shell of a person at the end of the day. You become someone who can't speak their mind, can't show up, can't be confident. You lose your self-esteem. You lose yourself completely. And by the time mtu ana walk away, enyewe ilikuwa dedi. Ilikuwa either abaki hapa dedi, ama tu walk away. Na ameweigh options akaona, it's okay, afadhali mseme mini deadbeat, afadhali mseme I don't show up, but I need to save my life. So I'm happy we're having this conversation because it brings into light the things that men are going through in closed doors. Even the ones who are being beaten by women. Being thwarted, like for real, kwa nyumba anaslapiwa, anapigwa. If you come out and say that this is happening to you in the home, let me tell you, the men will laugh at you. The women will say that you're weak, you're a loser. There's nothing you can do, you're half a man, or you're not even a man at all. So where do you even go? And it's the same. If you go to, there's places where you need the help. If you go, they'll tell you, marriage, you just stay and you save your marriage, you fix, you work on it. Na saizo unatwangwa daily, and it's, maybe people don't take it seriously when a man is being abused, especially physically, by a woman at that. True. We don't take it seriously. We think, how can a woman be beating you? But there's men who would never, haizi rudisha hiyo mkono, haizi enda kukuripot mahali, haizi enda kwa maka. Personally, I have gone to the police for a domestic violence issue. Do you know what they told me? They told me to just go home and forgive, because that is what you do in a relationship. You just cower and you nyamaza na unanyenyekea. And I can imagine if a man is doing the same thing, they probably laugh in his face. So where are we supposed to go? Where are we supposed to have these conversations? women can be abusive, women are abusive, and yes, wanachangia sana kwa hii situation ya relationships where they're making men not able to show up as men at all. So I needed to mention part women not like the abuse is not always violent, because we're always looking out for a shouting, screaming, loud, crazy woman. That's what they call us when we're angry, crazy. That's what we're always looking out for. But no, sometimes it's very subtle, very quiet, very cutie, I love you, lakini sayako inakaaje sasa. You know, so now you stop wearing your watch. Cutie, dress yako, now you stop wearing that dress. Evo, by the time I'm done with you, you can't even be yourself anymore. Yeah.
I love that you've been honest. As I said, I've
done my best.
Maybe let's talk about the role of toxic women in a man's life. How does that affect the man? How does the man come out in society? Because most of the time, as we've said, the man will always be silent. They won't talk about it. There was that thing that was going around. You understand? So I really want that aspect of toxic women, the role of toxic women, how it shapes the man and how it affects the man.
Okay. In relationships, I've said this before, and I want to repeat it for this context only. Things never go wrong. Things start wrong. Sometimes the red flags, you will see them but assume them. You will think they will fade away. I was reading something yesterday, and somebody said for the ladies who are struggling to get married, the solution to get married faster is start acting like you don't love money, and you will get married faster. Bopi Yonajua does not apply. Toxic women know what they want at the end of the day, and they have to get it their way. Let's look at it this way. You're dating, and she has a standard, a class. Probably she may not even afford it herself, but she wants you to go out of your way, so that you can meet her demands. She wants to go to hotels. She wants to go to vacations. She wants to be driven in this kind of a car. The worst part, and this is what is affecting men, and I talk to men below the age of 30 often, is the standard that most women are putting on the kind of wedding a lady is looking for. I want to be taken from this house in the morning. I want to be driven in this type of a car. I want to dress this way in church. I don't want to use the same dress code when I am going for my reception. I don't want to use the same dress code when I am going for my evening party. I don't want to have the same hairstyle, makeup. Then you wonder, what is happening with this person? And you know her response? You decided to marry me, so it has to be my way. So the guy will go out, get a loan, or not be happy, because he wants to satisfy and make the woman happy. But at what expense? You're starting off wrongly, because if you're employed, you will start by deduction from your salary. You are not enough, your salary was not enough when you were alone. Now you can imagine when you're two. And she will say, I will not be in a one-bedroom house now, because what if I have a baby and my mom has to come and visit? Standards and classes. So what is this woman they are trying to control? The problem with the toxicity is sometimes you think she's taking the lead, but she's not taking the lead. She's actually controlling you. That your family members cannot come into my house, but my family members can come into our house, and you have no right to dispute. You start dictating even the places that you go. I like that it has come from Bobby, because this is what most men struggle with. You are out with your boys, you've just landed there. 10 minutes later, umefika. Utarudi saa ngapi? And you're wondering, is this a school kid? Even when we allow our children to go out, we don't call them as often. Of course, I keep telling men, if you go out and you overstay and your wife akupigi, there's also a problem, because maybe she's used to your absence. Like, you cannot be consistently being put on your toes. You're seated at your place of work, but the first person to ask you, hata huwezi nipigia, you're being called. Nafikiria my wife or my girlfriend is calling me because it's lunchtime to find out what I've eaten. But the first question is, hawezi nipigia leo, haunimiss? a lot of bad vial that you are even being talked to rudely in the presence of your family. Ask yourself this question. How many men are actually comfortable when they go out with their wives into their own homes, their maternal places? Because my wife will come and start saying, na mimi nisipewe kazi ya kuosha vyombo. So does it mean nikifika kwetu, after greeting everybody, I look for the one who is giving duties, nimwambie na wangu leo usimpatie kazi ya kuosha vyombo? I have a sister, my sister Wambui would look at me. My sister anaweza niambia nitawapatia nyinyi wawili nione chenye mtafanya. Men who cannot even reason, you in church, you are being told to sit next to your wife is dictating even the styles that you're going to sing to your maker. Ulikuwa na dance aje church. Even the clothes that you wear. And unfortunately, go back home. How many men are even being denied their conjugal rights? Yeah? I think it's on Sunday. Yeah, it's on Sunday. When we had one of the outings, we posted a picture. And I've seen comments in my section, see how men are happy when women are not there. But you will even see some women with some comments of they were discussing women. That's the only topic that makes them happy. And when I go home, say for instance, maybe my wife was following those comments online because she doesn't want to call me. She's like, ni akina wanawake wagani hawa mlikuwa mna discuss. It starts like a fight, and at the end of the day, that bed is so wide that you feel like there's a rift between you and your wife. There is no happiness. And at the end of the day, when you look at where did things go wrong, things went wrong because you never even said from the word go, these are the irreducible minimums. This I can agree with. Of course, men will protect, like Roberta has said, but sometimes whom are you protecting at the expense of what? You cannot then protect somebody who is making your life difficult. How many men have died in the hands of their women? And not just the physical death. Some are dead emotionally. They are walking, they are just walking dead. Yeah, dead men walking out here. And then, God's sense of humor sometimes is terrible. Eh? Then along the way, he meets a young girl, like Bobby here, who says, oh, Ken, you could be my prayer item. I've been looking for such a person like you. Then you remember, somebody somewhere can be able to sit and appreciate what somebody else somewhere did not appreciate. Yeah. So what will happen is, I start being aligned to Bobby more than Shiro. Shiro now starts realizing, it takes a master to know that the game plan has changed. Yeah? The master now starts realizing he's no longer asking me what to wear. He's no longer depending on me to purchase clothes for him. He's started now. He comes even home with a perfume. He's changed. Haogi na jamaa. Amekuja na cassons now. Ameanza kwenda gym. The car is pimped. The car is washed with the perfume inside. You know what will happen? When the man is sleeping, the DCI wakes up at night to look for evidence. And now when they get the evidence, it turns now, I have done all these things, I have survived with you for 10 years, but they also don't know longevity of stay and the happiness of stay sometimes don't go hand in hand. We could be married for 20 years, but I was only happy 2 days. So you can't say I have sacrificed quite a lot for the 20 years, but what have you taken me through in the last 20 years? I'm not in any way defending that cheating is good or telling men that there is somebody somewhere out there who can make you happier, but the solution lies with you also. If you lured this lady and she accepted you, you can also go back to the drawing board and redo the rules. The rules change. Even football, the rules change. We are being introduced to new rules now in the new season. You can always, a new day can begin today. You can sit down together and say, enough is enough. I am not going to take this anymore because the more I allow myself to go through this, the more I am not happy. How many men are broke but they earn 6-figure salaries? Because even their payslip, lazima uilete. I've never understood how you take your pay slip not because you want to plan your finances as a family. You're taking your pay slip so that it can be planned for by your woman. How? I think this has now gone a little too far, and it's a high time we tell men, man up, yeah, stand up, talk to somebody.
Yeah.
If you can't come to Ken, go to CJ. He will tell you how he has survived. And it's not every day that is a happy day in the house, but you cannot have 7 bad days in a week.
I love how vocal you guys are today about toxic women. And maybe, CJ, you can tell us about some of the character traits that maybe you've even experienced with when you're talking to the men, like the way they talk, the way they come out and say, these are some of the character traits that men should look out for. As Bobby said, sometimes it might come out as love, quote unquote, might come out as love, but it's not love. They're probably doing something to you slowly. And Ken has also said that we have the Walking Dead, like literally the men are the Walking Dead because they have so much going on inside of them, but we don't really know what they're going through. So maybe you can talk about the character traits and maybe when is enough for the man.
Yeah, you threw the harder part to me.
I had to.
You threw the harder part to me. But I think one of the things I want to say is I think sometimes ladies forget that men are just like the brothers they have in their homes. Sometimes when people talk about men are this, men are these, men are these, they forget that they have biological brothers. Some of them have biological sons. So when you're throwing out this narrative, you are also throwing it out for the person who will relate with either your brother or your son. So you need to look at people as individuals. Don't just go out there, all men are dogs, all men are this, all men. Would you want a lady to do that to your son? This is where the mother-in-law wife issues come up, because now this woman will be looking at your son as men, and you're looking at this boy as your son, and the collision begins to come in. So women are also hurting themselves with this and hurting the male figures in their lives. We need to be not the kind of people who generalize and just go out and profile people. If you had a bad situation, relationship or something, don't carry it into the next, because some of these abuses come from past failures. You don't want a marriage like the one your mother had because she had an abusive husband. So when you get married to this person, you're relating with this person, you want to deal with your father through the man in your life. So this man comes into a relationship where you're already at war, and he doesn't know the genesis of this war. So the women who are struggling in their marriages because in their head, all men are like their fathers, and probably their fathers did not show up, were abusive, they left. So they are angry. And they come in, you meet a Ken, and you feel like a man will not do this to me. Question is, why get into a relationship if you even think that this is going to be a war zone? It's not a must. It's a choice. Don't get into it to go and fight in it. You know, if you don't think that marriage works, just don't get into it. Don't get into it and then now start making it hell for the next person. So to come back to the thing of the characteristics, the things that somebody should look for, Ken and Bobby have talked about the element of control, and sometimes very subtle. But the thing for me is, if somebody makes you doubt yourself, that's a huge red flag. If they in any way make you doubt yourself, it could be in anything. It could be in what they say, it could be in what they do. But if they make you doubt yourself, even when they're saying, how are you dancing in church? This person is making you second guess yourself. You begin to ask yourself about your motives. Are you normal? Are you, what are you doing wrong? You know, they throw things like, so who was that you were talking to? Man, what do you mean, who was that you were talking to? And sometimes they're in the room. They could have just come in and say, please introduce me to your friend. Hi, how are you, whatever. Why are you moving from a point of suspicion into this other place? Why do you feel you've got to cut this person's feet? It's because you have a certain mindset of whom men are. And sometimes your man is doing everything now in his power to prove that he's not like other men. You should not put anybody to that kind of a test. You should never make somebody feel like they have to overprove themselves because you have something in your head. Like, so every day they want to show you that I'm not talking to anybody. So they'll come in, they'll leave their phone there for you to check to see that they're not talking to anybody. Why should somebody be thinking all the time that they need to prove to you they're not guilty? Why would you get into a relationship with somebody you don't trust? Why would you be with somebody that you feel you've got to control? So what exactly then brought you to this person? If you feel they're that kind of a person. There are also ladies who sometimes have been wronged by men. We will not, diminish that, but they cannot go past it. Ken will tell you that when you talk to couples a lot, most probably a man will say, she has never forgotten. It could be 7 years, 10 years, 15. There could have been something. Yeah.
At 6:30.
I mean, it would be something this guy did, and he has acknowledged it, but that thing never leaves. So over and over, it comes back. So the man begins to feel like, I'm losing this battle because I'm trying to do everything to get back this thing. But you never forget the mistake that I made. Either it was how he handled resource, or he stepped out of the marriage, had a lady or something he did not do, or there was a time the mother to the lady had something, or the family, just something that the guy did, and that will never be forgotten. Men talk about this a lot and a lot. A lady will forget where her keys are. She will she will forget everything things in the bag. She won't know where her keys are in the bag. Oh, but she'll remember what you did in 1974.
That's so true.
So this kind of a thing is not healthy for a relationship, because you will not have a relationship where you have not offended each other, you have not wronged each other. The magnitude might be different, but if the person has owned it up, or you have sought help and you're trying to work it out, please let it go. Just let it go. Don't always remind somebody of their mistakes, of their failures. I always say this, that women have more grace for their children than for their men. They can forgive anything their children have done. I mean, they'll always see positivity. The child could be the craziest, but she'll just feel like he'll get better. He'll get better. But when it comes to the man, I don't know what happens. You've got to remember, this is somebody's child. They'll not forget that. So the thing of not forgetting what the person did and not forgiving and always reminding them, that's a toxic trait. There's the element as well where the man no longer feels like they're a man because they're being compared to other people out there. And sometimes you don't know the stories of those people. Some people have perfected the look. It's not that they have it all going together. They've just learned how to manage perception, and then some of them have learned just to be contented with what they have. So you will think they have a lot, but they're just okay with whatever they have. So don't allow somebody to always put you against other people. You're not other people. We come from different families. You may be the first generation wealth creator. You're being created compared to somebody who is the third generation or the fourth generation. They didn't have to start where you started. Some of us have had to go back in time to try and correct things that were not done by our parents. And then if somebody compares you to somebody who did not have to go back in any way because they've had everything coming along the way, that's a very unfair thing. So you cannot say your mates, your classmates, your age mates, we are not life mates. Life serves different people differently. Generally what I'm saying is anybody that diminishes whom you are and diminishes your efforts and does not appreciate what you're doing and doesn't think that what you're doing is enough, even when you know you're doing your best, that's toxic. Yeah.
I love what you said. It was 1970. Yeah, we remember. Every single detail. We remember.
The cutoff of the car,
It's true.
Yeah, and since, Bobby, you're the advocate of self-love, when would you say, like, enough is enough? Like, what would you tell a man that is out there, a boy child that is out there, to like really just say enough is enough, walk away from it? But you know, at the end of the day, you have children with them. You know, some people stay for the kids, some people stay for certain reasons, but when is enough, you understand? And maybe you can add your final comments on that.
There's this thing I usually like to say, but anytime I say it, men argue with me about it.
Please say it again. Let's hear it.
So the thing is, it's very essential for you as a human being to not only have logical intelligence, I'm a street intelligence, I'm all these other intelligences, and then you ignore emotional intelligence. I like to tell men to equip themselves with emotional intelligence. Please don't say that's a feminine trait. Don't say that's a thing women do. Don't discount yourself already and say hizo ni umama ama wanapenda kusema umama sijui wanafikirianga umama ni weakness ama ni nini, I don't know. But if you equip yourself emotionally, you're able to understand, manage, communicate, feel, and go through things. So it doesn't leave you at a disadvantaged place. Si madem, tumekuwa socialized emotionally tangu tuzaliwe. Like hii game ni yetu, tunaijua. Manipulation, control, lying, nini.
Sema zote.
Tumebobea. Nisisemi, nataja tu the negatives because leo tunaongea juu ya toxicity.
Yes.
But us women are very well equipped emotionally. We're very, even the most unemotional woman, she still knows how to feel, communicate, understand. She can tell you, this is how I feel, this is what is happening to me, and she can speak about it. So I'd say to the men, please equip yourself emotionally. Make sure you're able to regulate, to stabilize, to feel, to communicate your emotions so that you're not left out of this game of life that we're all playing. The women are coming up in all these other intelligences, financial, logical, CG travel, what? So where usikwe a man saying, emotions ni vitu za madem. And the reason I'm bringing up emotions is if you're good at managing your own, you're good at spotting other people. You're able to see, this girl is trying to manipulate me. This girl is trying to control me. I don't like the things she says about me. A lot of these things you puuza because I hear it. I'm not saying all men, but I hear it even in the banter. Men play with each other. Wataitana. I don't know if I can say this, but wanaitananga we mbwa, we fala, we. That's their normal banter. That's their normal way to laugh with each other.
Yeah.
To the point that they're unable to see where the lines start blurring and say, hey, it's not normal for someone to call me mbwa. It's not normal for someone to call me fala.
True.
It's not. So because they do this within their setting, that when they come home and their woman is treating them like this, they're not able to see, oh, this is not right. This is not how we're supposed to be speaking with each other. Because they shout in other settings, they come home and they think this is normal. So you're not able to see when you're being abused, especially emotionally. And I said, abuse coming from a woman is not always violent. It's in those subtle, the vibes, the weirdness, the awkwardness, the silent treatment, the kukufokea maneno, kukuambia vitu zenye zitakufanya u feel very low about yourself. So if you're allowing it in other areas of your life, you're not going to see it in the places that it matters the most. So please equip yourself emotionally so that you're also good at this game that we're all playing. And then I'd also like to say to the men that this equipping yourself is not that just so that you're able to deal with women. It's also for yourself so that you're able to, when you're feeling something, you're able to say, hey, that's sadness. Hey, that's anger. Oh my goodness, I feel very emasculated by the things that are being said or by the things that are being subjected to. I feel jealousy. Because once you're able to name your emotions, you're able to deal with them better. Love yourself. All this to say, love yourself more than anyone else, more than your mother will ever love you, more than any woman will ever love you, more than your kids will ever love you, because you're the only one who's always going to have your own back. You're the only one who will stand up for yourself. You're the only one, like hata say nikikosea Ken, imagine if he doesn't tell me, Bobby, I don't like what you said, Bobby. Tutaendelea tu kubanta, but maybe ana hold resentment. Now maybe he held me very high in his life. So if consistently being around me makes him feel horrible and like he's a dead man walking venye tumewaita, who's benefiting from this relationship? It will seep into the panel. All of us will feel whatever is happening here. So please equip yourself emotionally so that you can stand up for yourself, speak out for yourself, show up for yourself, love yourself. And if you have these high standards for self already, imagine no Roberta is going to come to your life and tell you, kwanza CJ akiongea, I was thinking, mimi naitisha maua na pesa na watu wanaitisha ma vacation. I need to pull up my socks. But listening to CJ, I was thinking, nobody is going to come to your life and start forcing you to buy flowers and give money if that's not what you're used to or if that's not your level, and then they make you feel bad about being unable to meet those standards. But if you're equipped emotionally to be able to say, hey, Bobby, I like you, I love you, you're beautiful, but enyewe sina maua saizi. Neza kubaia tu birthday yako peke yake. Neza save alafu ikifika birthday yako nikubaie kuliko hiyo ya every week. Maybe there's a compromise we can reach just because this person was able to communicate their emotions and, you know, their status even financially. So I'd like to say, love yourself more than anything else in this world. And men, it's okay to love yourself. Maybe nobody tells you, you know, jipende, jiongelele vizuri, jitreat vizuri. Before ubaie bibi kitu na watoto, jibaie yako kashati kapoa. Jipulizie hizo marashi. Si lazima ungoje ka side chick akuja kuoneshe mambo za gym. Do those things now when you're already loving yourself, so that when anything else happens, you know, you're able to say, hey, I can't stand for that because this is how I love myself. So, your self-love inachangia sana. And if you're being abused, we see you, reach out, communicate. Reach out, kina CJ na kina Ken wako hapa. Si lazima abuse ikwe mtu amekupiga ngumi. Inaweza kwa hiyo silent treatment, mtu akuongeleshi the whole year, na mnasema mko married, ama mko in a relationship. Reach out to someone. Reach out to me as well. Maybe it's easier for you to talk to a girl. Right. Reach out to me as well. And, you know, let's keep having these conversations, because at the end of the day, we all need to heal and we want to be better. Yeah.
Thank you. And Bobby wraps it up for us today. Thank you, guys. Love yourself enough. Know when to walk away. And always set the standards of how people are going to treat you. My name is Ann QT. Thank you, guys. We'll meet next week as we continue this conversation about men's mental health. See you next time. Have a lovely day and keep watching Citizen TV.